There has been a lot of speculation as to how the plot of Fire Emblem Three Houses will unfold. A big sticking point for a lot of fans recently is if the story will ever move away from the Garreg Monastery, which is the place where all of the students are going to school. This is where your units will train, learn skills, and change classes. So here's the rub. If the story takes you away from the monastery at some point, how is Three Houses going to handle not having such an important location unavailable to the player? Well, that leads into the topic of today's video. There are a couple ways that Three Houses could handle this problem. The first being that the monastery may always be where your army returns after battle, similar to how the castle worked in Fates. However, in Fire Emblem Fates, the return to your castle between maps was justified with some astral plane mumbo jumbo, and Three Houses seems to be a bit more grounded than Fates. So, how could Three Houses justify a return to the war school between every battle? Simple, it could act as a home base where your army receives all of their missions. This idea is not far off from how Final Fantasy Tactics Advance handles mission selection. In Tactics Advance, to select a mission, your main character speaks with a bartender who gives you a list of missions you can choose to complete in any order. Though there is one specific mission that will move the story forward. Three Houses could take that idea and implement it in a way that sends the player to accomplish some mission and then come back for the next. So, to sum this idea up, the player could be given a list of missions to accomplish in any order, while Garreg Monastery acts as some sort of home base. The second, and what I think is a little more likely, way to handle the story is that there will be multiple locations in the game that can act as the battle school. If you pick the Black Eagles, there's a strong possibility that you'll end up in the Adrestian Empire. Would it be crazy to think that the Adrestian Castle could act as a place to train units? I don't think so. The same could be said for the other two houses as well. Now, let's discuss how this might impact the story. If the main character always uses the monastery as a home base, then it would stand to reason that battles would struggle to connect together narratively. In Fates, the ability to return to this weird otherworldly castle was a bit jarring and made each map seem disconnected. Contrast this with FE7, where every map felt like an extension of the story. Each one made sense after the other. Think of the first time Elowood and company head to the Dread Isle. They meet Fargus in a port town, the port town is the map. The next map takes place on the boat you are traveling on, then the following map starts with your army near the seashore. Every bit of gameplay and story felt connected. So I feel that if Three Houses wants to attain this level of cohesive storytelling, it needs to avoid having only one central location that the player returns to after every mission. This is partly why I think it's more likely that there will be more than one location where you'll be able to train your units. It just makes more sense from a storytelling perspective. I hope they have a similar approach to Path of Radiance, honestly. It was an epic tale that traveled across the entire continent, but it still had a functional base system that even allowed you to train your units. As I write this, it makes sense to me that Three Houses could easily just have a traveling school type of thing, like Path of Radiance had a base everywhere they went. If any of you are worrying about this, I don't think it's going to be much of a problem, so calm yourself and realize that whatever they go with for this situation, it'll probably turn out okay. Have a little faith in our friends over at Nintendo, and of course Intelligent Systems that has given many of us our favorite series of all time. Anyways, that'll do it for me today, friends. Make sure to comment your thoughts on this topic. Do you want to have a central location that is visited frequently, or do you want to have multiple places where you can train your units? And as always, make sure to like and subscribe for more Fire Emblem discussion.